Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining today's video. I'm Scotia, your captain of Red Badness, here at Beyond the Fan, where today we'll be talking about What If, Episode 5, Zombies. To start with, this will be a spoiler review. I'll go through do a quick recap of the story, give you my positives and even better ifs around this episode, and my final thoughts. I'm also doing something a bit different today and actually having some images up as I'm chatting away and talking about it. So to give a kind of quick recap, so like we're talking about here, it starts off with the Hulk picking up from the Infinity War. So at this point he's just been dispatched by Thanos on Thor's ship, and Thor managed to get him sent away back to Earth just in time. And if you can see here, it kind of picks up exactly what it does in the movie, with Banner being in Sanctum Sanctorum. But unlike the movie, he is alone. There's no one around. He goes out, finds something to wear, goes out, has a wee look about, and then what happens? Well, it's let's get to the right point here. Ebony Maw and the others show up, so it kind of picks up as if things in space have been going exactly as they've always been, but on Earth things have changed. And just like that, people appear. And it's actually the people coming out who thinks helping them actually aren't helping them, but actually a zombie version of the Avengers. You can see Tony, Wong, and in the background here, I'm assuming this is Doctor Strange as well. And of course, Banner's freaked out by this, but he's got some help coming in from the Cape, from Hope, we find out, and from Spider-Man. Yeah, so here's Hope there showing up to the rescue, and it's now we kind of kick off with the explanation of what's happened, and basically going back into the events of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Rather than rescuing his wife, Hank Pym discovers that she's been infected by some sort of virus, quantum virus, and when they return, the virus is unleashed, and it's kind of devastating in terms of just people getting attacked. So you get infected by having any sort of bodily fluid come in contact with yourself, like from a cut, your eyes, your mouth, etc. And we have got introduced into this version of Peter Parker, just quickly recapping the events of the past 2 weeks and some tips to surviving. And you can introduce some of the characters that are left. We decide we have to find this beacon, and the best way of doing that is going to the train station, getting a train, and going to New Jersey. And as you can imagine, we decide to split up, typical zombie trope. We split up, we lose a couple more people, and we lose Happy Hogan, we lose Sharon Carter, and a few others, to Zombie Falcon, Zombie Hogan now, and on the train now. And really this is where it kicks off. We see Zombie Cap alive, he deals with Carter, Bucky deals with him, and then we get the reveal that after Hope has dealt with the last zombie on the train, that she herself has been infected, and going into this other zombie trope of just someone alive, affected, and just waiting for him to turn whilst trying to desperately get to the cure. So basically, Hope can't get where the train runs out of power, so she decides to go giant and carry people to safety. Meanwhile, she's been attacked and eventually succumbs to her injuries. You find out that the base we're going to is the old SHIELD base from the first Avenger, and we discover it's actually Vision that is here, and his Mind Stone is keeping away the zombies, so it's relatively safe. We go exploring as Scott Lang's revealed to be alive here. Vision's brought him back, cured him, but only his head. Again, a little reference to some of the things in the comics. We go exploring and discover T'Challa has been kept alive here, and parts of him has been fed to Wanda. Vision's basically been using people to kind of sustain Wanda because he loves her so much he can't be without her. So she's a zombified version of herself, obviously, but again, like Iron Man, like Doctor Strange, can still use her powers. So there seems to be some sort of intelligence behind this, and not just mindless creatures. We do try to escape. Again, a few more characters sacrifice themselves. More zombies show up. Vision has at this point decided he's realised the error of his ways, sacrificed himself, and that's just basically because the Mind Stone's no longer active. All the zombies can get in now. Banner buys some time, and he hulks out, and Hulk he seems to give him some sort of protection from being bit. At this point, we try and escape, and we can see a resurrected Hope and they try to grab on and stop the remaining survivors from getting away. We do manage to get away, and I think this was a really poignant scene. So it's between Peter, T'Challa, and Scott. Ant-Man's there as well, his head. And really it's about T'Challa just saying even people who are gone are not really gone so long as we remember them, which I think was a bit touching given the tragic passing away of the actor, Chadwick Boseman. So the three of them head to Wakanda because of the advanced technology kept Wakanda safe all this time. We do see that the barrier is still protecting, but there's a horde of zombies outside, and potentially might get in if they need to let the barrier down to let in Quinjet. And finally, as a sting at the end, it's revealed that Thanos has got almost all of the Infinity Gems, apart from the Mind Stone that Peter and T'Challa now have, and he's also been turned into a zombie. So that was a very rapid review of the episode. Now, my initial thoughts on this episode were it's actually quite enjoyable. I feel like we should have had this episode be almost the first episode to the actual season to get people really hooked in. Events of Infinity War and Endgame will still be fresh in people's minds, so it would have been a good opportunity to kind of really get people bought into this idea of what if. The points I really liked again was this is one of those fun things. You can just switch your brain off, no pun intended, and just enjoy it. You don't have to. You can enjoy it just for what it is, which is a quick ride through What If Zombies. I do recommend checking out the comic book series. It goes into more detail and events that are obviously different. This is the MCU version of Zombies, but definitely the highlight of the season so far. A strong 7 out of 10. There's just a couple of things for me that can make it even better, and that would be just explaining how the zombies actually work. So why is it they're able to use their powers, use their technology, and explain why that is the case in terms of is there an intelligence behind this? Are we still fundamentally still the same people, but driven by some need to eat people? In the comics, for a spoiler for the comics, you actually find out that the characters, the heroes, are still a version of themselves, they still have a personality, but they're driven by this need to consume and eat other humans, and that drives them to madness and to attack people. In this one, it's not very clear. It's also this thing at the end. It kind of hints at the possibility of being a sequel or a follow-up to this. But is this a cliffhanger, or is it just a nice little, oh look, what's happening sort of thing? It would have been good if they explained at this point, how did Thanos actually become zombified? He's supposed to be this incredibly tough character without having Infinity Stones, and he's got most of them here, including the Time Stones, so he must have got that from Strange. Yet he was able to be zombified, so it'd be good just to kind of have a wee quick scene showing that, and then reveal that he's been transformed. So whether or not he shows up in a future episode remains to be seen. So for me, overall, best of the bunch so far. If you're going to introduce people to What If, I recommend this has been one of the episodes we start with. Really fun episode, switch your brain off and enjoy it. Some of the better apps would be just explain a bit more about how the characters can use their intelligence and powers, a bit more explanation or hints to what's happening here with Thanos. But overall, I thought it was an excellent episode that we've had so far. And yeah, if you're looking to get into What If, or you want to get someone else into What If, this one and last week's Doctor Strange episode are the two I'd recommend getting started with. And finally, I'd be interested to know what's happening out in space. So I'm assuming Thor and the Guardians and Captain Marvel are still out there, and potentially that'll be part of a sequel. So if you made it this far, thank you very much. If you liked what you've seen, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments what you think about this episode of What If. How would you rate it? And would you be willing to introduce other people to the What If episodes? And if so, would you start with this episode? Thank you for being with me, and I'll see you next time. If you like what you've heard and want more, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for making it this far.